Hello and welcome to everybody's favorite drama slop content. That's right, get your spoon out and prepare yourself, because I'm ready to serve and I fully intend on letting the trough overflow with all that juicy content. All jokes aside, ladies and gentlemen, follow along with me as we dive deep within the psyche of a demon, disguising himself as a human being, with emotions and feelings just like you and I. A true gentleman, a personification of accountability, an honest, truthful, and reliable man. I also wanted to mention that I will likely be attacked for making this video by Urghbla in some way, whether it be by him directing his community to come here and mass report this video using the excuse that I'm harassing him and lying about him, or by him deciding to go full retard and filing a false copyright strike on this video. Either of these outcomes are highly likely, as he has done both in the past numerous times. I want to make it abundantly clear that the use of Urgbla's voice within this video falls entirely under fair use and is protected under copyright law as a result. I am directly reacting to and responding to what Urghbla is saying within this video, and it is entirely transformative content. I would also go as far as to classify this video as educational. In order to hopefully prevent this piece of shit from falsely claiming this video, I intentionally left out the video footage that took place during Urgbla's livestream in which these voice clips I am responding to came from. I have also not chosen to fight the many false claims that he has made against me because of a few reasons, and none of them involve him being in some way justified in making those false claims to begin with. I don't intend on providing him with my personal information, which is necessary to make a counterclaim considering he has used my personal information maliciously in the past. The rest of what I'll be talking about throughout this video mainly involves other people Urghbla has lied about, misrepresented in some way, and any other bad faith behaviors that will be shown throughout this live stream and subsequently dug into by me. So let's get down to business. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and leave a like and subscribe to the goddamn channel if you want to live a healthy and happy life. Urghbla begins his stream by making fun of this guy for not understanding the ins and outs of the YouTube comments section.
Can't see replies on my own. Wow.
Bro, it literally says show more replies. Hit the fucking button, dude. Come on.
What the actual fuck, bro? Oh, there we go.
Really? Oh my god, this guy's cooked. Alright.
Got a little paranoid there.
Following this, he makes fun of the guy, calling him schizo.
Maybe that was Meme Dealer 45. Maybe they'll show themselves.
Yeah, this is the most schizo shit I've ever fucking seen. This guy. So far, this video is him just like talking about like one guy talking shit on his comment.
Here Urghbla says, "This is the most schizo shit I've ever seen. This whole video is this guy just talking shit to a guy in his comments." Well then, this stream Urghbla himself hosted where he bitches and complains about negative comments under one of his videos that he was receiving must have been an out-of-body experience or something, because brother, you've literally done the exact same thing to a much worse degree. You need to lock the fuck in.
Evidence to their allegations and take responsibility.
Why would this isn't the one guy who talks shit on my video saying he'll stop hiding on an alt account?
Then Urghbla makes fun of the guy for his accent, poking fun specifically at how slow the guy is talking, which is naturally how people from the South tend to speak.
But guys, I think the majority...
It only gets worse. I'm telling you, it gets much worse. It's just hang in there.
Yeah, it does only get worse, and we're gonna see exactly how and why.
I would argue that you're kind of being a little pussy boy yourself. I mean, you're not coming on the stream to talk to Red. I don't know. Listen, all I know about the situation is you're going to schizo. Red is like, yeah, I'm not to talk, and you're saying, no, I'm not talking to him unless you get these people on the stream and you do these ridiculous things, and right, like he's asking me to jump through all these hoops. That's not somebody who is like confident and willing to represent their side. That's somebody who is like trying to pretend they're confident and avoid actually addressing what's going on.
I don't really think it's ridiculous to ask somebody who is known to create and spread misinformation, lies, and harmful rumors about other creators to apologize for doing so. What I do find ridiculous is making a live stream with the sole intent of harassing and degrading a guy who is clearly mentally unwell. That seems ridiculous to me, but I'm not really sure. Maybe I'm just or something. I don't know. You guys can let me know in the comments down below.
And it's interesting. I'm seeing a bunch of people calling him a predator, so I am kind of curious to see like where these allegations are coming from. So we'll get there. We'll see.
No, we won't. Nowhere throughout the duration of this stream does Urghbla see where these allegations are coming from.
Yeah, I think we all are. Matthias, however you say that. I don't know what the hell is going on.
That's not going to be changing anytime soon, Matthias. All Urghbla does is make content that lacks context so that it can be used to paint people as evil in hopes you and your middle school buddies will go around harassing people over it on the internet.
So far, but we'll get there. Trust me. You'll see in a second. Just let's hang in there.
Don't worry, Matthias. It will all make sense in a second once Urghbla here finds something to pin on this guy. Trust me.
Again, got clips of this. People accusing 14-year-olds, these predator hunters accusing little kids that are kids themselves of being because that's the popular thing to do, and these kids actually getting a complex because of it. And
I think what Spooky was meaning to say here was that there are children accusing adults of being preds, and they get an ego over it. However, I could be wrong, and maybe he does have clips of what he just said happening, but I haven't personally seen any clips that would suggest this to be the case.
So I've never done that, right?
Urghbla feels the need to respond to Spooky's claim here of pred hunters accusing children of being preds, saying that he would never do something like that, but that's not where his comments on the matter ended.
I would never interact with a 14-year-old willingly. So
this statement by Urghbla here immediately perked my ears up. Urghbla claims he would never willingly interact with a 14-year-old, which is odd, considering the fact that he's literally done this. Do you remember this comment I mentioned earlier in this exact same video you're watching right now? Well, this child here, Princel, has been a supporter of Urghbla since he was a 14-year-old. And you guessed it, Urghbla has interacted with this individual on multiple occasions. Directly, intentionally, willingly. This comes off as a bit odd, coming from Urghbla, as he's literally interacted with this person. But that's no big deal, right? He's not lying. No, Urghbla would never do that.
I think something that's been on my mind that I've been waiting for the place to say it, calling people predators and other P words, that's been something that has been like a trendy thing in the VRChat community to do well before I was here. That's what people do on VRChat.
There's a difference between some dickhead running around in VRChat calling people pedophiles in order to rage bait people, and creating and spreading harmful lies about people in hopes your audience will be convinced that they're a predator or pedophile when you've provided zero evidence to suggest this to be the case. These are two entirely different things. What Urghbla does is not rage bait. He is creating and spreading harmful lies about people in hopes his audience is convinced that these things are fact when they're not. What Urghbla does has nothing to do with VRChat and everything to do with him being a lying, vindictive piece of shit that can't stop himself from lying about people. Whether it be for attention online or because it's worked so long for him and he's made money doing it, I'm not sure, but he does this. This is literally what Urghbla does.
Trying to say that has something to do with me or Sileskios.
It has everything to do with you and Sileskios. Both of you have created and pushed false allegations to your audience that have harmed innocent people.
I personally have always, and as my videos suggested, I made a video recently talking about this exact issue.
The video you made recently talking about the devaluation of serious allegations is you yapping for almost 14 minutes about a problem that you are and continue to be the worst offender of within this niche on YouTube.
I've always made an effort to be like a factual and like positive voice in that kind of space in an otherwise disgusting environment.
Urghbla, come on, man. This lie that you just told about being a positive and factual voice in the environment you fester within is simply ridiculous. If we choose to forget the many false allegations that you have pushed regarding me and only take into account the things you've claimed about other creators in the space, even then it's clear that you claiming to be a positive and factual individual is as far away as humanly possible that you could get from the truth here. I don't think I need to show any examples of this from previous instances in this very moment, not because I'm lazy or don't think it would prove my point, but because during the rest of the stream, he mentions many of these instances and we're going to break them down as they come by to show exactly the type of person this piece of shit is and how he lies in order to harm people that he doesn't personally like.
You know, the same people that would just throw that shit around for no reason are the same people that can also just make videos and claim to be a predator hunter.
Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. That's your entire channel and online persona. You've pretended to be a predator hunter for the last few years, have done nothing to hold the people you catch accountable that entire time, until very recently, which you still haven't actually proven, by the way, and you use the clout that comes from you doing this to make up a bunch of shit about people that you don't like. People then believe what you say without you having to provide any evidence that would suggest what you're alleging is actually actually true. And then when you do provide screenshots as evidence, it's always a bunch of nonsense meant to confuse people and to promote speculation towards whoever you're trying to target. Never once have I seen you provide legitimate or concrete evidence of intentional wrongdoing towards any of the larger creators you've chosen to attack in the past 2 years. Also, I find it a bit strange that every single creator that you have attacked just so happens to also not like you on a personal level for one reason or another. Surely you're not just attacking people because you don't like them, right?
So I think it's stupid and dishonest to try and act like that has anything to do with what I'm doing.
No, it's not, and I just got done explaining why it's not.
I'm sure there are people that see it and are inspired by it.
Of course there are. They see how successful you are doing this bullshit to people, and they want the attention you have, so they do the exact same shit that you're doing, hoping to be as successful as you have been doing it.
But to act like, there's a direct correlation there when there isn't is a dishonest thing for sure.
I think to act like there isn't a direct correlation there when there is a direct correlation there is a dishonest thing for sure.
Because again, this isn't about what I'm doing.
Yes, it is.
Or people who are trying to do what I'm doing.
They're included too.
This is a problem with the VRChat community in general. People throwing these labels around at each other.
This is a problem that exists everywhere on the internet. Stop trying to make everything about VRChat. It's just fucking strange, man.
Look at it from this perspective. What if someone wanted you and Glass to hang out for a couple hours? That wouldn't be appealing or enjoyable sounding, would it?
Urghbla is responding to Spooky comparing Spooky talking to the guy he has had an issue with, who's named Red, being similar to Urghbla and I talking to each other in the past, which, let me be clear, I have never had an issue with up until Urghbla decided to commit a sex crime on my live stream when he changed his profile picture on his Discord account into an image of a big black cock. Before this event, I was always down to clown with Urghbla considering he usually ends up making a massive fool of himself whenever we speak. Now, let's hear what he has to say about this.
I feel like this is a bit of a different comparison.
Alright, immediately, starting off here on the wrong foot, let's see what has led Urghbla to this conclusion that these two things are entirely different comparisons.
Because I'm sure you guys are aware, I have talked to Glass on several occasions.
It is true that we have spoken on many occasions.
And I've tried to find peace with him pretty much from the minute I decided to stop talking to him.
What? When has this guy ever attempted to find peace with me? If this were true, it would suggest that Urghbla has retracted every single lie he has ever pushed as fact in my name, that he has apologized and taken full accountability for using my live stream to commit a sex crime as mentioned a few minutes ago, that he has apologized for doxing me on dozens of live streams from October 2024 all the way up until present day, as well as in his Discord server and privately to me within our DMs. It would also suggest that he has apologized for filing the false copyright claims on every single video I've ever uploaded to my channel that include any of his content or criticize him, which are all protected under fair use, and that he has apologized for many other things that he will never be man enough to own up to doing. I must have missed him doing all of that, because I don't recall him ever doing a single one of those things, yet he's claiming here that he has attempted to find peace with me, which is entirely false. No, you have not attempted to find peace with me. You have attempted to extort and blackmail me. You have created AI-generated media of me attempting to sexually humiliate me to your audience of children who believe this shit to be real. You have done many things, none of which have ever been in hopes of finding peace with one another. That's delusional nonsense, but let's continue. Surely this can't get any worse.
Anybody that was here for a few years, would know that when Glass and I stopped talking, me and him talked privately, and I kind of came to an agreement with him. I was like, hey, I don't want anything to do with what you got going on.
We never came to any agreement other than that we would stop making content together. I expressed that there was no need to make a big deal out of any of this, and Urghbla continuously pushed and insisted that it was necessary to make a community post about it on his end. I never once agreed to or felt like that was a good idea to do.
This was before the whole, Predator stuff came out. This was just when he was being crazy with Zwolof and trying to get his audience to harass her.
I never once attempted to get my audience to harass Zwolof, and had been dealing with her harassing me directly and indirectly throughout the month of September, leading up to Jumper's hit piece, which served to further harass me, and was a joint effort between Jumper, Zwolof, as well as friends of the two of them. There is no evidence that exists which would suggest that I sent people to harass this girl in any way, shape, or form. He's only saying this because he wants you, the viewer, to be tricked into hating me because he doesn't like me.
I basically told him privately, I was like, hey man, I don't want to deal with you anymore. We tried telling you to stop talking about this shit and you just won't stop. I just don't want to be associated with that. I don't want my community associated with that.
This is not what you told me.
But I'm gonna be very respectful. I'm gonna make my post in my community and, be very respectful about it.
If you wanted to be respectful about everything, everything, you should have listened to what I had to say and decided to not make a public post about any of this shit to begin with. Clearly you don't care to be respectful, and you need to stop pretending like you do.
And I basically made a post saying, hey, for the time being, or I was like, look, me and Glass are no longer be making content together for an indefinite amount of time, right? This stuff all happened right from the very rip.
Alright, well, this is the first factual claim that you've made here. You did in fact make a community post in your Discord despite me not agreeing that to be the best course of action.
And then as soon as I did that, this dude started lying about me, saying that I was like sexist, and just like twisting shit, starting drama.
And we're right back to lying. I never lied about Urghbla being sexist. The proof of that being the case I will put up on the screen right now. You messaged me regarding a situation involving a moderator of mine that was banned for harassing someone in my Discord server by pressuring them to send nudes in the DMs. Even after this situation had been explained to you as to why the ban was justified and that the guy was pressuring the girl into sexually engaging with him, you continued to push and push in defense of the moderator that was banned for the offense. You continued to downplay the situation in our DMs across multiple days, attempting to defend this random dude your very own head moderator at the time had banned from my Discord for doing this shit. You were told time and time again that you were wrong, exactly why you were wrong, and just like you do with every single incorrect opinion you have, you still continued to push and push until I eventually gave in and chose to expose you for being a sexist retard in my DMs. That's what happened, and you saying you're not sexist, saying that I lied, and all this other bullshit is not a valid defense and serves zero purpose towards proving you're not in the wrong here. The correct decision would be to apologize, admit that you were in the wrong and misunderstood what was going on, and move on. This would teach you a valuable lesson as to how to become a better human being going forward that doesn't engage or do this shit all the time that I now have to talk about for multiple minutes in a video nearly 2 years later because you couldn't handle being wrong. This shit is childish, annoying, and you look like a fucking retard because of it.
And then of course it only got worse from there as we uncovered that he was a predator, and of course I covered that.
No you didn't. Emro destroyed you on this point over a year ago in this live stream, and despite being proven wrong on your claim, you still continue pushing this false narrative by asserting that exact claim, and you continue to claim that you've somehow proven this to be undeniable fact when it's not. You have not proven this life ruination seeking claim, and you need to man the fuck up, take accountability, and admit that you were wrong on this. That's the only solution. That's when this ends. That's how you stop this.
And even in the midst and after all of that, I've talked to him on several occasions. Sometimes we were debating and arguing about the things he did. Never really got anywhere in that.
We never really got anywhere on any of this because, like I said with the sexist thing, you only ever push and push and push on something that you want to be the truth regardless of whether or not you're incorrect on it. That is textbook delusion, my friend. If you're curious what I mean by delusion here, I'm referring to a fixed, false belief held firmly, in this case by Urghbla, despite there being overwhelming evidence to suggest that false belief that is held is exactly that, a false belief. Urghbla has many of these false beliefs, and we're going to see that throughout this live stream. If it wasn't already obvious that this guy is delusional, it very much so will be the case by the end of the video.
Until it came to a point where I basically blocked him everywhere. A long time ago now. It's been, well, like a year at this point. I don't know how long it's been.
You blocked me everywhere because you're afraid of speaking to me anymore due to me always making you look like a massive retard.
I don't even remember the last time I had Glass on my screen, but I have had many talks with him, and I'm sure everybody here knows that. You guys can recall that I've had him on my streams before, had conversations with the guy, realized they were going nowhere.
You realized I wasn't retarded like your typical target, and chose to do the smart thing by not engaging with me anymore, so that you don't have to face reality on your live streams, or ever, anywhere, for any reason.
I think the last time I talked to him, it was, I literally just let him on the stream, because I was like, hey man, whatever, say what you gotta say. And he was just sitting there just like accusing me and lying about stuff, and I was like, okay.
The last time you had me on your live stream was, I believe, this stream here, in which I asked you questions regarding your predator catching content and called you out on your inability to ensure that your decoys were not the first to engage in sexual related conversation within the many catches that I viewed on your channel regarding your series to catch a VRChat predator.
Like, you guys wanted him on the stream, like I did like a vote or something in the chat, and I'm like, look, he's just gonna lie and just like say stupid shit over and over again.
Yep, you did do this. However, I didn't lie or say stupid shit over and over again, which is why you decided to discontinue allowing me on your streams. Once you realized that I'm not here to fuck around anymore and had done my research on your bullshit, you got cold feet, stopped allowing me to come come onto your live streams and literally just started pushing harder and harder the many lies you've used to harm me.
And then I did another poll after 20 minutes, and I was like, hey, do you guys still want him on the stream? Majority voted no, so we kicked him off. I was like, look, I got nothing to say to this guy. Like, he's just gonna sit here and lie his ass off, right?
Nope, another lie. That conversation went on for around an hour and 30 minutes. Again, man, these lies are building up, and it's not a good look for you to be lying about minute details like this if your goal is to convince the people that are watching you that you're an honest and positive individual all of the time. It almost makes it seem like you have a lying problem or something.
That being said, there's also been things behind the scenes where he's agreed to not interact with me anymore. We agreed to have peace, only for him to go back on that time and time again, right?
Nope, we both agreed to stop talking about each other, to which you didn't uphold, and I responded accordingly. You lying here, again, only serves as a way to paint me as a piece of shit by switching up the timeline of events and making it seem like you're an innocent victim when you are the aggressor.
So TLDR, I have talked to him on many occasions, and I have tried to find peace.
No, you haven't.
But he's just a liar. He always will be a liar.
Nope.
Basically, at this point, I obviously want nothing to do with him. I've made that very clear for a very long time now.
You claim to want nothing to do with me, but yet you still find excuses to talk about me on literally every single live stream you host on your channel. Isn't that weird? I wonder why that might be. It's almost like you have an obsession with me or something.
I'm not going to talk to him. That doesn't benefit me at all.
You're right. As I said before, you realize talking to me only results in you being made a fool of, which does not benefit you at all. What does benefit you, though, is continuing to lie about me to your audience of children that will believe everything you say at face value and never once ask you to prove your claims. And to those who do actually ask you to prove the shit that you're claiming, you simply harass them and ban them from your community instead of showing any proof of the shit that you're claiming being true. Because you know proof doesn't exist and that it would be impossible to prove the claims that you're making.
Despite doing, all that and blocking him everywhere, he continues to make alt accounts to interact with me and stalk me and things like that, so.
Nope, I don't make alt accounts in order to interact with you and stalk you. I have made alt accounts in the past for the purpose of documenting the misdeeds which are taking place within your many Discord servers that I am banned from on every single account that I own, and I sometimes decide to fuck with you, as trolls do, once I'm done collecting what I need to collect with that given account. I enjoy fucking with you because you're an arrogant piece of shit that lies about people. I don't think there's any surprises there.
It's a little bit of a different situation, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, of course it is. Well, at least it is when the situation you just described to your live stream is entirely comprised of your own delusional reality that you've created in your head over the past 2 years. I think it's pretty clear that you're grossly misrepresenting the facts of something here in order to steer a narrative. When you're grossly misrepresenting the facts of something in order to steer a narrative to this degree, there's only really two explanations that could help someone understand why this behavior is taking place. Either you're extremely mentally unwell, or you're just a piece of shit that lies about people he does not like in order to harm them in some way. I think in your case, both of these apply. Considering I've read your entire DM log between you and Solus and the group chat log, which consists of the teenagers that you call your moderators and friends online, I think I have a pretty good understanding of the type of shit that you think is real, and it's pretty clear that you're delusional.
Because I believe that if you guys actually had a conversation, especially in this kind of setting, I think we'd see some progress potentially, unless you're literally glass and you're incapable of being a part of society, right?
Yeah, bro, I'm incapable of being a part of society. That's totally why I'm in the position I'm in right now, and it has absolutely nothing to do with you choosing to continuously and obsessively lie about me to your audience of children for the past year and a half of your life. Those two surely have no correlation whatsoever, and you're the pinnacle of societal participation, so you would know best. Give me a break, pal. You're a fucking moron.
So I would assume most people, if they just talk, and actually talk to each other, that type of thing, I think that resolves things for most people.
Most people, yeah, but you're not like most people. You're a narcissistic, vindictive, psychopathic incel that spends every single waking moment that you're conscious obsessively stalking me online and figuring out how you're going to convince your girlfriend to not kick you out of her home once you run out of the money you've been saving from when your YouTube was actually making above minimum wage.
The lore between me and him is he was a Sileskios fanboy, and ever since I have called out Sileskios for his bullshit, this fucker has been scurrying around, following me around everywhere and doing 12-hour-long lives. Literally did a 12-hour-long, maybe more than a 12-hour-long, he did at least one 12-hour-long live stream. I think he did a few others, like an 8-hour-long live stream and stuff, about me. right.
From what Spooky is saying here, it seems that this red guy has been harassing him to some extent throughout the last year.
So this guy who does nothing but like parasocially interacts with other people is upset that somebody is criticizing him now. Okay, that's what I'm gathering so far.
Sounds familiar, doesn't it?
Also, this guy didn't call Sileskios out for shit, okay? I called out Sileskios. I'm gonna be real with you. That was my doing. So, yeah.
No, you didn't. You made this video here talking about the Sileskios situation, and you didn't really add anything valuable throughout it. What you did do, though, is you bitched and complained about how the Sileskios situation made good guys like you look bad.
It really sucks that somebody who, you know, not only is doing the same kind of content as him, exposing these bad people, predators online, but somebody who literally, you know, hearing that I motivated him to start making this content and seeing it end this way is very disappointing. And it's unfortunate that, you know, other creators that mean to do well, such as myself, catch strays from this saying, oh, we're just projecting, or it's only a matter of time until it comes out about us as well. Maybe there's a part of me that wishes this could have been handled less publicly and some of the details could have not been public, not only for my sake, but for his.
This entire video serves zero purpose other than for you to stroke your own ego in hopes of making people think that you're not a piece of shit just like Sileskios, despite you two having similar behavior. The guy literally copied your entire personality and content style, except for the fact that he wasn't doing legitimate decoy sting operations and humiliating people. He was essentially just taking information that was already out there and putting it all together in a video so that people could then go and harass people over it. I mean, to be honest with you, he kind of did what you do, but better. I mean, he was even more successful doing it than you were, considering before this whole situation happened, Sileskios was mostly loved by the VRChat community, especially here on YouTube. And the opposite is true in your case. You're pretty much unanimously hated because you're a piece of shit. You're egotistical. The way you think is obviously devoid of logic. You're pretty immature. You just make fun of people. And yeah, I mean, there's many reasons to hate you, but Sileskios, before this, if you weren't somebody with a developed frontal lobe, there wasn't really many reasons to not like this guy or think that he was being strange. Despite Sileskios' content being absolute dog shit, much like yours is, him showing obvious signs of projection, just like you do, and many other issues that grown adults, like I said, with fully developed frontal lobes, such as myself, called him out on, Sileskios was still unanimously liked, unlike you. Now, rightfully so, you're both unanimously hated because you're both fucking retarded. You're both doing this fucking weird projection thing, and yeah, you're just unlikable people. I mean, there's not really much to say about you that is positive. I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is. And to be honest, I know that the attention he was receiving had to have been pissing you off. Much like how you were upset when I dropped a banger video not too long ago, so you decided to spend the rest of that day, not that you would be doing something valuable otherwise, constructing this hit piece on me, entirely full of misinformation. If you're going to get asked mad over a funny video, you should at least try to not include a screenshot that you took of my channel immediately after you finished watching the video that I uploaded. That would probably be your best course of action to make it seem like this isn't a retaliatory strike on me. Yeah, this hit piece is a pile of garbage. I mean, you're literally a laughingstock. I don't know if you're actually legitimately going insane or not, but that's my takeaway from this. This could have been prevented by you just coming to me and asking me like, hey, are you like dating this girl, blah, 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 this and that. But no, of course not. You don't do that because you want me to look as bad as possible and you don't really give a fuck. So yeah.
But he's trying to like do gay ops.
My understanding of what a gay op is you doing something
I just want to point out how much I love the long pause here, as every gay op this loser has orchestrated flashes before his eyes. Genuinely peak content right there.
I think they're basically saying you're doing like something undercover or interacting with somebody like undercover in a way that is cringe, like gay as in cringe. Right. So if he's using like an alt account to interact with him and pretend it's not him, I don't know. That is my interpretation of a gay op. I don't speak in like, you know, like 4chan terminology or whatever we would consider that to be. So yeah.
Now, about the term gay ops, this is a term that people use online a lot. And this is the definition provided by the Urban Dictionary. But in short, a gay op is essentially everything that Urghbla and his community have been doing for the past 2 years towards people like Osai, Modulace, Ratgrave, Benelli, myself, and many others that I don't really care to mention. These gay ops are essentially this community of people, Urghbla's community, making conspiracy theories and speculative rumors that eclipse the realm of logic and reason into the land of delusion, where this schizophrenic man and his echo chamber of destitute boneheads fester, and then pushing these as if they're fact. In Urghbla's case, he has created and spread harmful lies about many of the creators in the space, and of course asserted many of these claims as if they are fact, despite having no concrete proof or evidence that would suggest this to be the case.
So he's going around thirsty as fuck, trying to find every little breadcrumb and dig up any little gotcha dirt that he can on me. I mean, he's probably like got this big long text document of a file. I mean,
This sounds like projection. Knowing the kind of person this guy is and how parasocial he is and how invested he is into internet drama, I wouldn't be surprised if Spooky does this exact thing.
I find this part to be particularly schizophrenic, coming from Urghbla. And just to be clear, when I use the term schizophrenic here, what I mean is legitimate schizophrenia, not the internet schizo posting, shit talking bullshit. I'm not insulting the guy. I genuinely do believe that this individual is schizophrenic, or at the very least, showing early signs of schizophrenia. And I'm no expert, I'm no psychologist, but I do enjoy learning about how psychology works, especially in us. Obviously, we're the most complex things on the planet in terms of our brains. So it's a pretty fascinating thing to learn about. And in my opinion, this guy's showing many of the signs of being schizophrenic. That being said, Spooky here is bitching about the red guy that has been pestering him, claiming that he's a liar. This also applies directly to Urghbla, despite Spooky not calling Urghbla directly a liar here. Urghbla still feels compelled to give his take on liars to pad any future claims of being labeled a liar himself. The lack of self-awareness throughout this ramble coming from Urghbla is peak content, and just listen.
I'm worried because he lies so much, you know. I hate people like this. It bothers me that when someone is crawling up your ass like this and being a hemorrhoid like this, it sort of like makes you want to shift in your seat.
You know what's worse than somebody, maybe not. Okay, you know what's almost as bad as, let's just say this is true. Let's just say that Red is intentionally being a liar. You know what's actually just about as bad as somebody who's intentionally a liar? Somebody that's so fucking dumb that they don't realize that they're a liar, like Spooky.
Like Spooky? Seriously? Come on, man.
You know, like somebody that like confidently asserts things that just simply aren't true as fact.
Somebody confidently asserting things that aren't true as fact, you say? That feels a bit specific to me. I almost feel as though I've seen Urghbla doing this exact same thing that he's complaining about here on his own channel. Surely this isn't an unconscious projection coming from deep within the depths of Urgbla's soul. No, the savior of the children, Mr. Accountability Personified, the man who never puts himself in positions that he can lose? This can't be. He would never do this.
And they're just so fucking dumb and they don't realize that like what they're saying is stupid, right?
You guessed it, he was projecting. I genuinely don't understand how this guy has any fans at all left. I mean, unfortunately, the fact of the matter is that most of this guy's fans are either children or mentally challenged people, and it really is sad. I mean, seriously, I was more self-aware as a middle schooler than this guy is as a 30-year-old man. It's crazy.
That is the kind of stuff that is on the same level of being just like a blatant intentional liar.
Blatant intentional liar, you say? It's almost as if you're a professional on the subject or something.
It's almost more frustrating because like if someone's intentionally lying, you kind of know what's going on there, but like if someone's just like stupid and lying, it's almost like you can't even attempt to communicate with them. It's like they're speaking like a different language at that point.
Speaking from my own personal experience, I can agree with Urghbla on some of the things that he said here. For the last year and a half, I've had to personally deal with an intentional liar, just like Urghbla is describing here, lying about me constantly amongst other various evil and malicious things that they've done to me by this person and his community. That person, wait for it, is Urghbla. The self-reporting does not stop with this guy. It's fascinating. Really, it is. He must have had like a bingo card or something for this stream because he's checking them all off right now. Matter of fact, I can make a bingo card right now and start checking them off. I mean, this is ridiculous. I mean, this guy is literally performing a masterclass of bad faith mixed with a bit of self-awareness lackage. It's incredible what this guy's doing. And yes, I did just invent that word. I'm pretty much a fucking genius. Another thing I wanted to mention, because I don't think people understand why I'm convinced this guy is at the very least borderline schizophrenic. So backstory here, Urghbla uploaded this video not too long ago. Why is this important to mention, you ask? Well, relax, because I'm about to fucking tell you right now, so simmer the fuck down and chill out. Jesus Christ, man. So this video is Urghbla complaining about an issue I discovered within the VRChat trolling niche on YouTube not too long ago. It's gotten much worse recently, but initially I discovered this issue in Urgbla's videos. A lot of his older trolling videos are him pretty much just harassing people. So this directly applies to him to a certain degree, but not entirely. Although other creators are much worse than Urghbla in this regard, I will say that Urghbla isn't the worst offender of this specific issue. Just want to make that abundantly clear. Anyway, my point here is Urghbla throughout the duration of this video, in which he's literally schizo rambling, verbatim states my opinion that I've been pushing in my content and on my channel as if it's his own unique opinion, and that he's the first person in the history of the earth to come to this conclusion. Oh, and I almost forgot to mention, 2 weeks prior to uploading this video where Urghbla completely steals my unique opinion, Urghbla sent his entire live stream chat of over 200 concurrent viewers over to my channel to mass report me for harassment, because I was talking about this exact same opinion that he has now stolen from me as if it belongs to him. And I mean, the guy literally said that I was harassing people by pushing this narrative, this very true narrative that is legitimately taking place and occurring, which I haven't really gone into much detail on except for in this video that I made, where the opinions that I stated that he stole from me are on full display within amongst community posts that I've made, like this one here.
And Glass needs to get off the internet, absolutely. By the way, I do suggest if you guys want Glass off the internet, I do suggest utilizing reports on YouTube. They're actually very effective when you actually report content that violates the TOS. So, you know, when you see Glass harassing random creators like he's doing with, who is it now, like Oats or whatever, when you see him doing stuff like that and saying horrible, gross things, if you report that stuff, it's actually quite effective. So I would really suggest that when you see people violating the terms of service, you actually take a moment to utilize those features so YouTube can be aware of it and cleaned up. So that's what I would suggest. He is not just like a, he is not just like an unstoppable force. You can totally get rid of it. We've done it before. One time he was streaming and I had a few hundred viewers in here and I was like, or somebody said it. They're like, hey guys, go report Glass's stream. He's harassing people. And a bunch of people did it and his video got removed instantly. 100% his channel should be deleted off the platform in my opinion. He's just one of the most disgusting individuals, you know, out there. So yeah, but that's besides the point. I just think, you know, something that I want to remind you of. It's very good to utilize these features because they do work if they're used. So I highly recommend, you know, doing it. Otherwise it's our own fault for allowing it to happen, right?
Don't get me wrong, I want people to adopt this opinion. It's not that I'm upset at Urghbla or anything like this. I just think it's very strange to label something that somebody's doing as harassment and then entirely stealing their opinion when it becomes convenient for you to do so for whatever reason. I'm not sure. I assume it's because somebody probably didn't want to make a video with this guy and he got all ass mad about it and decided to take the easy way out and steal my opinion because all of a sudden it's convenient for him to do so, like I said. But like I was saying, I want to shine a light on this issue because I feel like it's immoral and I feel like it's just overall wrong to do, and it's, you know, it's just fucked, dude. It really is. And I want these creators that are participating in this toxic, sometimes immoral behavior to either stop what they're doing entirely and leave the platform because they don't belong here, or change for the better and, you know, realize their faults, admit to it, and grow as a person. My point is that this guy was literally sending his entire community to mass report my channel, not even 2 weeks before this video was uploaded, labeling me pushing this exact same opinion as harassment towards other creators like Oats and those who associate with her. I don't really feel like I need to waste any more time talking about this because it should be fairly obvious that this makes Urghbla look horrible. So for now, that's where I'll leave off on that topic.
Get this guy's contacts if you really care about the community and you practice, practice what you preach. Here I am being accused of being a child molester by basically two.
I don't think this guy gets how I make and post my content. I'm not a fucking, how do I say it? I'm not sitting here talking to VRChat players for them to report to me that somebody's a predator. If somebody tells me that someone they know is a predator, I tell them to go talk to the police. Why do you need to tell me about it? The people that I expose as predators are people that I find and expose as predators. I'm not gonna, if you come to me and you say, hey, Urghbla, this guy's a predator, I need you to look into him. Bro, go to the fucking police. What am I, like, how does that benefit anybody? And this is what I say every time. And I have forgiveness for, like, you know, when there's like a 15-year-old or a 15-year-old that reaches out to me and says, hey, this guy's been doing this to me and that, I'm not angry at them, right? I tell them to cut contact immediately and talk to your parents or go to the police, right? I don't need to be involved in that process. And I think that is a good thing that, you know, if they are reaching out to me, you know, that obviously is not gonna be productive, but if me telling them to go and actually do something actionable is actually helping, then I think that's great. But like, if people come to me like this dumbass is saying, hey, Urghbla, if you care so much, why don't you interview this guy who's calling me a predator? Because I don't give a fuck. I don't, right? If you're a predator and he knows you're a predator, then he can go to the police. If you're not a predator, then hey, like, I don't need to be involved in that, right? I'm not like, you know, it doesn't really matter what I think, okay? If this guy's calling you a predator, that's not proof of anything. I don't have proof, and you telling me and trying to make me understand the situation literally doesn't benefit anybody. So yeah, like, I don't need to be involved in this, right?
I completely agree with Urghbla here. If you happen to have information situation that could lead to somebody being justifiably charged with a crime for doing something illegal, then the worst possible decision that you could make would be handing it over to somebody like Urghbla, who is known to mishandle this sort of information. If you want someone to be held accountable, then reporting the information you have on them to the proper authorities is the best thing that you can do. This can be done in a few different ways. My two favorites are reaching out to law enforcement and allowing them to handle it from there, or by submitting a tip to the FBI via their online tip form, which I will link in the description of this video for anyone who might need it. Urghbla doesn't handle serious situations like these properly. Instead, choosing to create predator-catching content for views and attention, his main goal being to farm, like I said, attention, and on top of that, the goodwill that comes with pretending to be the good guy that catches predators. If you're not tapped into the content that Urghbla has made and released on his channel, it's essentially him getting into VRChat lobbies with these predators that he is catching, and then making fun of them for his own entertainment. Sometimes he even uses toys on the predators to help them get off to the thought of children doing this to them. No, I'm not kidding. He did this in a video that has since been made private or deleted following Urgbla's channel demonetization that occurred last spring.
Listen, we do work to find predators who put decoys out, and if you're willing to talk to our decoy, you're a fucking predator. We know this. It's my evidence. It's my, our own work that we do with the decoys that I have. I have confidence in the work that I do and the work that we do, and I feel confident to say, hey, yes, this is a fact, because we are actually gathering the evidence ourselves.
It is rare that a claim coming from Urghbla is actually factual. If you ask him to provide evidence to prove a specific claim that he has made, he usually just gets angry, calls you a child, makes fun of you and your family, then bans you from his stream and his Discord server and turns you into a slander point to stroke himself off in front of his echo chamber. The reason for this temper tantrum level behavior should be pretty obvious, but if you really need clarity here, it's because Urghbla is a liar. I want to make myself incredibly clear here because, like I said, this guy is a massive liar, so much so recently that it almost seems as if he's intentionally trying to avoid telling the truth. I am in no way defending those who take advantage of children, and I have always remained firm in my opinions on the topic. If you're above the age of 18, you shouldn't be talking to minors online in hopes of dating or sexting them. I also don't appreciate when losers like Urghbla do everything in their power to misrepresent my character, my opinions, and how I feel. So if you didn't hear it coming from my mouth, whatever opinion Urghbla claims that I have does not apply to me. Urghbla seems to have a serious disconnect within his brain when it comes to the word predator. Despite Emerald completely destroying him on the topic in this livestream from over a year ago, Urghbla has remained firm in his delusions regarding the use of the word predator in his content. In order for a person to be considered a predator, it is necessary for there to be intent to prey upon someone, which is exactly why when it comes to situations where vigilante groups are exposing people, these situations need to be handled very carefully. If law enforcement is handed a case and cannot undeniably prove intent to prey, then it's likely that they won't do anything with the evidence that they've been provided with. This issue specifically has prevented Urghbla from doing anything valuable with his predator catches thus far. If a decoy pushes a conversation towards a sexual direction before the alleged predator featured within these videos does, then the entire case is null and void and falls apart, which occurs in most, if not all, of Urgbla's predator catching content and can very easily be verified to be the case just by going back and taking a look at the videos within his series where he provides screenshots of conversations between alleged predator and his decoys for our viewing pleasure. Before we continue, I wanted to clarify that when I refer to something Urghbla is saying or doing as a projection, I'm not saying this to discredit Urgbla's points, and I'm not saying this to make Urghbla seem crazy or ridiculous. I'm labeling his behavior as projection because I can listen to what Urghbla is saying, then go back into his very own content and observe him either doing the thing he's expressing as an issue or in some way contradicting himself. It's also important to understand that Urghbla isn't bitching and complaining about this stuff because he has a legitimate issue with it. He's doing it because it's convenient to adopt whatever opinion that he's pushing in order to paint a narrative and manipulate his audience into crusading on his behalf and believing that he's a good guy who deserves respect. Being that most of his remaining audience, like I said prior, are children and the mentally challenged, it's not a difficult task to achieve this goal by pretending to hold a certain opinion that happens to be beneficial for him at any given time, especially when he's instantly setting his live streams to private so that nobody can go back and fact check him, where a majority of his content has taken place on live stream. Don't worry though, this is why I record every live stream I feel is important in exposing this guy's misdeeds, and that's exactly why you're seeing this video now.
I'm not gonna sit here and play the telephone game with predator accusations where this person says this about this person, and then I go to this person and they tell me about this person. I don't need to be another ear in that whole conversation, right? It's literally like the telephone, is like literally call it like the telephone game where you like whisper something to somebody and they like whisper it down to like 10 different people, and by the time you get to the end, it's like some total bullshit. Like, it doesn't have to be that, you know? So that's why I don't do it that way.
I agree that the game of telephone would undeniably end in some bullshit being spread if Urghbla were to end up being involved. After all, he's notorious for not doing his research on claims that he's been fed by people, and especially if those claims are against people he doesn't like on a personal level. I'll be talking more about this specific flaw in Urghbla's content pipeline in the coming months, but for now, that's where I'm gonna leave it.
Yeah, this is just delusion, to be honest. It's not, like, the fact that he thinks because I care about these kind of issues and I do my own work and we do our own investigations to find predators, it does not mean that I want to be involved in whatever you got going on.
This is, in fact, delusion, both on Urgbla's part and Spookmeister Flex's part.
Also, not to mention, I don't know if you guys caught it, but in the last video, he said he was going to go in like something about going to prison again. I wonder what this guy went to prison for, like, prior.
So the spooky guy does talk about having to deal with legal troubles earlier in this live stream, which Urghbla is referencing back to here as a way of promoting speculation towards these legal troubles. We will talk about this more throughout this video that you're watching now, and trust me when I tell you, it's absolutely fucking gold. Now, before I do continue, and I know I've said this a lot throughout this video thus far, but I want to be as genuine as possible and not give anybody the power to make bullshit claims about me. So for that reason, I feel it is necessary to be hyper specific here. Spooky here is going through a bit of an emotional breakdown, likely due to the alcohol consumption that he has been open and honest about taking part in. Personally, I'm choosing not to put these moments on display because my goal here is not to embarrass this spooky guy for your entertainment like Urghbla is doing. My goal is to show that Urghbla is an abusive piece of shit, how he is an abusive piece of shit, and the many behaviors in which he is exhibiting that make these two factors of his personality shine most brightly. So I'm choosing to exclude Spooky's drunken emotional breakdown for the sake of keeping the video from becoming multiple hours long, and to avoid putting more emotional stress onto a man who is clearly already not in a great spot, in which it is apparent that he likely needs legitimate rehabilitation. Spooky, if you made it this far into the video, please submit yourself into rehab and get the help that you need for your drinking problem. I don't know if you're a bad guy, but what I do know is that it's clear you need some help and nobody deserves to be attacked or harassed because of that.
So, okay, so he says he's not going to kill anybody, but he's been having some homicidal thoughts and suicidal. Okay.
Spooky does express that he has been having homicidal and suicidal thoughts within this live stream. Surely this is a man we should be pestering, harassing, and further pushing until their breaking point like Urghbla is doing here. I'm only kidding. What a wonderful, empathetic, and humane idea coming from Urghbla. Surely he's not an evil piece of shit that likes to harass, torture, and see people like Spooky here suffering for his own entertainment. Absolutely not. The savior of the children would never do this. He's a great guy, as he's said before. After all, nobody is more proven, reliable, or honest than he is. I'm only kidding, obviously.
So this guy's bitching, saying I won't do shit, and I'm like, hey man, I'll talk to you, and he says, nah, I'm good. You don't deserve to talk to me. Like, what is this shit?
That is not what Spooky said at all. What he did say is that if you were willing to show that you are not a piece of shit human being by apologizing to some of the people you have wronged, then he would come onto your stream and have a conversation with you. Like I've said many times throughout this video, it's clear to most people with developed frontal lobes that Urghbla isn't the most reliable, honest, or proven guy like he wants you to believe he is. Spooky, being an adult man that meets these prerequisites, can obviously tell that Urghbla isn't the most trustworthy guy, and that he also likely wants to invite Spooky onto his live stream so that he can farm him for content as he has many other people in the past to varying degrees of success. Let's be honest, that Kaido stream was an incredibly hard watch, but that's another topic that we will be talking more about in the coming months. Granted, Urghbla doesn't violate copyright law and strike this video, which will open an entirely different can of worms altogether. But let's hope he doesn't do that. for everybody's sake, including himself. I think we can all agree we want to keep the content and drama here on the platform because that's just more convenient for everybody involved.
I wish there's a way to track how many messages the person sends, but yeah, he's literally on glass levels of this crap.
I love how every single spastic fuck that exists is just another excuse for Urghbla to speak down on me like I'm some kind of subhuman troglodyte. It's genuinely fascinating how much this guy finds a reason to speak about me. His obsession is unlike anything I've ever seen before. Don't get me wrong, I do a ton of shit in order to fuck with this guy, and for good reason. He's constantly lying about me, working to legitimately defame me, and convince people that I'm targeting children. So it goes without saying that I have many legitimate reasons to relentlessly pester and annoy this absolute shit stain of a human being. Personally, I don't believe he has any reason to project my name from his neckbeard-riddled skull, and it's honestly astounding how obvious it is that he's being dishonest when he does speak my name, with all of the tells that he has, such as the giggle, the scoff, the sigh. Every single time this guy utters my name from his lips, he's showing signs of being dishonest, and not a single individual within his audience who actually watches and consumes his content are keen enough to pick up on this, or question his intent, his honesty, or the proof that he claims to exist, which does not. I'm explaining this because it's incredibly important to understand what this person has done and the lengths that this person has gone to in order to harm people that don't deserve to be harmed. Truly predatory behavior. If we continue allowing this type of behavior to fester within online communities, then what happens is the internet turns into a place where somebody can essentially make up whatever harmful misinformation they feel like making up in order to harm whoever they feel like harming. Then all of a sudden, people are deplatformed, suppressed, and silenced, which enhances the ability for people like Urghbla to further spread their lies uncontested. Victims of people like Urghbla have a much lower chance of succeeding in their endeavors online, and all it takes is a few vague lies or speculative rumors to be created and spread until it becomes a wildfire that is quite literally impossible to put out, unless figures with much larger voices are involved in order to back up whoever's being defamed, which in the case of Urghbla's many victims, usually nobody is willing to step up to the plate because of the fear that has been instilled by Urghbla that they will be harassed and doxxed and attacked by Urghbla and his fan base of children and whoever the fuck else feels like harassing these people. In short, if people like Urghbla are allowed to spread whatever the fuck they feel like, then everyone suffers and nobody is safe on the internet.
The fact that Temlo and Urghbla can clearly see how much you're spamming and they're acting like nothing is going on, protect the community, my ass. Yeah, Temlo said this in the chat like a few minutes ago. Temlo doesn't give a fuck about protecting the VRChat community. I don't either. I agree. I think the whole fucking community should be destroyed.
This is a PSA to Temlo, Urghbla, and any of the other brain-dead morons that think this take is valid. The VRChat community that Urghbla is referring to here, believe it or not, wait for it, includes the children that he claims to care about protecting. So when you make your predator expose grifter content and you are doing it under the presumption that it is to protect children online, your statement here completely and utterly contradicts that to be the case. After all, VRChat is a 13+ video game, and we all know that there are much younger children that do play the game. We've all seen it. Urghbla has a video literally speaking to a 5-year-old in VRChat. If you don't care to protect the VRChat community, then you don't care to protect the children that play the game either. The VRChat community does not only include the people who watch this type of content on YouTube. The VRChat community includes every single person that plays VRChat. This might honestly be an accidental moment of genuine honesty coming from Urghbla here, as his behavior, like I said, does reflect him not giving a fuck about the community, which under my definition includes the children this guy and those like him claim to care about protecting. Whether you like it or not, whether you want the game to be 18+ or not, the reality of the situation is that, as it stands, VRChat is a 13+ video game, and the reason why we need to have respectable people making predator-catching content and not these fucking morons is because of the fact that there are children being taken advantage of on the game, and because it's a real problem that does exist. I can't believe that I have to sit here and explain this to a nearly 30-year-old man. I mean, seriously, this is fucking pathetic.
Like, okay, he's doing the thing where he's trying to say I'm paranoid and I'm schizophrenic and it's all in my head, and he's not been hounding me for months, right? Yet, he's literally using my icon and stuff. I'm schizo. He's pissing on you and trying to tell you it's raining is what he's doing.
Spooky has calmed himself down, and I now feel it is okay to allow him back into the video. Here he is describing how Red has been harassing and pestering him in various different ways. I want to draw attention specifically to the quote at the end here. He says, "He's pissing on you and trying to tell you it's raining." And honestly, I think that this quote speaks for itself, so let's continue.
My last girlfriend got me put on the FBI's top 10 list for domestic terrorism. That's a true story. That's a story for another day. I am a domestic terrorist, folk.
What the fuck? Okay, well, I guess we know why he got arrested now. Holy shit. What could this guy have done for that to be the case? Yeah, this guy's fucking batshit. All right.
That's right. Spooky's last girlfriend did in fact get him on the FBI's most wanted list, according to Spooky. I haven't actually gone and verified this information, but that's what he claims for domestic terrorism. Let's hear what Urghbla thinks of this revelation.
It sounds like this guy's ex-girlfriend is a victim of domestic terrorism at his hand.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're not mistaken. Right when you thought it couldn't get any more ridiculous, it got more ridiculous. This fucking moron thinks that domestic terrorism and domestic violence are the same thing. I have no words. I have no words.
Like I said, I've got my conditions. I told Urghbla, if you make a full and public apology to Osai, Modulace, and Benelli trolls, I'll consider your sincerity. Until then, no interviews from this boo. Like, I would like to see... Now, what would be a good show, actually, for Urghbla if he actually wants me for a show and he would actually, you know, apologize for all the wrongful people that he's accused? Because we all make mistakes, right?
I wish he would elaborate on what I accuse these people of.
Don't worry, buddy. Spooky might not, but Daddy plans to.
Because, you know, as I said earlier, my accusations were Osai shouldn't be trying to fuck, like, mentally ill fangirls.
Urghbla, brother. Somebody trying to fuck a woman is not an accusation. The goal of your Osai call-out in your Goongay video was to make him seem like he was taking advantage of this 20-something-year-old fan of his in some way, which is entirely false. Although, some of the comments left under the first Goongay video where you push this harmful misinformation regarding Osai give an entirely different impression regarding what the audience's takeaway ended up being from this situation. To be clear, there were just as many comments in favor of Osai as there were against him, but that doesn't change the fact that those who did end up believing Urgbla's bullshit within this video ended up changing how they felt about Osai, and that is due to them having been misled by Urghbla within this video. There are many reasons to dislike people, such as Osai and Urghbla. None of these reasons have anything to do with either of them pursuing the opposite gender for sexual interaction, which is why I use the word incel in order to describe Urgbla's behavior frequently. Urghbla seems to do this thing where he will hyper-focus on seeking to harm people like Osai that do end up seeking out the opposite gender for sexual interactions, regardless of whether or not there is good reason to do so. It almost makes it feel like the issue Urghbla has with this is not that there's any predatory intent or harm going on here, but that the seeking out of the opposite gender is the main issue. Despite him not being honest about that being the case, if this girl were to have catfished Osai, much like Benelli was catfished, then Urghbla would have absolutely labeled Osai a predator, even if there still remained a lack of intent to prey or harm the individual. This flawed logic that Urghbla has, and tendency to attack people for seeking out the opposite gender, is clearly incel-coded behavior, and only further strengthens my initial exposing of Urgbla's behavior, which I labeled to be sexist, or at the very least, misogynistic, in the way that he treats situations which involve women. There are also other hyperfixations that Urghbla has regarding women, but we will talk about those more in the coming months. I feel like it's important to realize that not every single female that ends up interacting with somebody who has an online presence or a platform is a victim. It does seem to be the case that this is how Urghbla treats these types of situations, and it clearly is in bad faith. It's clearly seeking to harm, and it's intentionally being done to stir up drama and push narratives of abusive or predatory behavior taking place.
Modulace is weird for being into like hypno stuff and being like a fucking gooner degenerate.
It seems like Urghbla is confusing allegations with opinions, both with his recollection of Modulace and Osai here. Believe it or not, you are allowed to think whatever you want about somebody, and that's your choice, although that doesn't make you any less of a dumbass for holding said opinion. So allow me to refresh your memory, Urghbla. You did not allege that Modulace was a gooner degenerate. You and your boyfriend Sileskios alleged that Modulace was taking advantage of and flirting with children, that they were consuming lolly/cub content, and that because of these things, that must have meant meant that Modulace was a danger to children, and what happened is, you deplatformed them for continuing to make content on their channel, which was steadily growing around this time.
And Benelli is a weirdo for trying to solicit CP from a underage girl.
The way Urghbla chooses to word his opinion here is the main reason why I have, in the past, labeled him as a closeted pedophile. The reason for that being, Urghbla here is intentionally wording this in order to make it seem like Benelli fully intended to prey upon a minor. This wording gives the viewer the impression that Benelli knew that the person he was interacting with was a minor, which is entirely false. This wording also implies that, under this impression, Benelli attempted to engage with this minor in a sexual manner, which is not entirely false, but regardless of that, Benelli still isn't guilty of preying on a minor. Benelli did in fact end up unintentionally engaging with a minor. However, this occurred because that minor, when verifying her age with Benelli, had lied about her age, meaning that Benelli believed he was interacting with an adult the entire time, even before sexual conversation came about in this specific interaction, which did occur before Benelli had seen anything that would have verified and proved to him that this girl was actually an adult as she had claimed she was. Not that it would make a difference, because she ended up lying anyway. Now, I will agree that Benelli is a dumb fuck for being fooled by this girl, specifically because of the fact that the verifying document which she used was obviously fake. If you took a look at it for more than 10 seconds, hell, even 5 seconds would have probably tipped you off to the fact that this shit was fake. The fact of the matter in this situation is not changed by any of this information, though. It is clear that Benelli did not intend to prey on this girl because she was a minor. If that were the case, he would have had to have known that she was a minor, which is the most important detail that Urghbla chooses to completely ignore in his efforts to slander and harm Benelli for this situation. It is clear that Benelli did not think this girl was a minor, like I said, and what Urghbla has said here would give anyone that hears him saying this the impression that the exact opposite is the case, which, you guessed it, is false, and also an incredibly bad faith, malicious lie coming from Urghbla here. It is incredibly disrespectful towards legitimate victims of predatory behavior, such as Urghbla himself discusses within this video, when a situation like this one is handled and treated with the least amount of honesty possible, simply to push a narrative and to harm somebody you don't like. A situation where someone has been misled into believing the person that they are interacting with is an adult is entirely different than a situation where someone is seeking minors with the intent of taking advantage of them in some way. That intent is the single most important factor when it comes to determining if this person, in this case Benelli, is an evil monster or simply an individual caught in an incredibly unfortunate situation where intent to harm was not a contributing factor. I do want to clarify that there are other factors within this specific situation that do make Benelli and everyone else involved look incredibly bad. However, Urghbla has chosen to completely ignore these factors, which would allow for legitimate criticism, and instead chooses to slander Benelli with his insanely bad faith lie.
I feel like those are like okay takes to have, so I'd be curious to know like what of what I just said there was something I should apologize for.
I hope that I've done a good enough job at helping you personally, Urghbla, understand how your logic here is flawed. Albeit I do empathize with the fact that you're a bit mentally underdeveloped. The reason you should apologize for your entirely bad faith representation of Benelli here and previous is because Benelli is not a predator. Benelli did not intend to solicit sexually explicit material from somebody he believed to be a minor. Yet, that is exactly what you've made it seem like is the case, which is an incredibly dangerous and pathetic attempt by you to harm Benelli for the sake of your own ego and content. This exact same bad faith representation of what has actually happened in situations such as this one is Urgbla's main manipulation tactic towards his audience. They will hear this bullshit being said, then they entirely believe it because Urghbla has done a really good job of convincing these people that his intent is pure and genuine, when the exact opposite is true. It all goes back to this guy being a liar. He lies about being a good person, he lies about being a factual source, he lies about situations such as Benelli's, he lies about exposing other people such as Osai, Ratgrave, me, Modulace, and many others. He lies about what people have done to him. He lies about literally everything, which is why I said earlier it's almost as if, especially recently, he is trying as hard as humanly possible to avoid telling the truth when it comes to every single thing that comes out of his mouth. Most of this is all delusion, and it indicates to me that Urghbla is likely to be suffering from early signs of schizophrenia, like I said earlier in this video. If I were to do a video covering every single thing that Urghbla has lied about over the last 2 years, that video would be multiple weeks weeks long. I could quite literally produce an entire series full of multiple 12-episode long seasons just from the lies that Urghbla has told, along with the manipulation that he has used to push these lies, and everything in between surrounding and involving that process. And even then, the entire story wouldn't be possible to be told because of the sheer amount of shady shit Urghbla has orchestrated behind the scenes, which includes many things that I can't undeniably prove. Although it's the case that most factors, if not all, surrounding these claims that I can't undeniably prove seem to point towards these things in fact being true. I'm not law enforcement, so I can't look into what this individual is doing privately if it's not released by somebody, so it's impossible to prove some things, is basically what I'm trying to say. What I will show you is that screenshots such as this one hint at there being much more going on behind the scenes that has yet to have been made public. This is a letter from Sileskios to Urghbla prior to him uploading his accountability statement video. Urghbla showed this on his live stream, and to be honest with you, even I don't know what Sileskios is referencing here. To my knowledge, I've never interacted with Sileskios in any way other than directly, so this leads me to believe that Sileskios, by his own admission, has in some way been interacting with me indirectly in ways that I have not attributed to him, which is concerning.
If he really, really wants me on the show, if he really, really wants me, if he's that desperate for content...
Do you see how he's trying to turn this into like something it's not?
Do you guys see how he's making it something it's not, guys?
Like, I was like, oh, you guys are having an argument. Like, come on my stream and talk about it. He goes,
if you really want me on the show, yeah, I would do that.
Do you see how he's acting like he's like in a position to make demands? Like,
do you guys like see like how like he's like thinking like he's like in like a position like to make like demands and stuff? Like, dude, like, do you like see it or like what? In all seriousness, I just want to point out how often Urghbla here is exhibiting approval-seeking behavior. After doing some research online where, as we know, all factual information resides, I learned that a chronic or compulsive habit of seeking validation in this way is referred to as a validation addiction, or more widely known as attention seeking. I'm only mentioning this because Urghbla commonly exhibits that exact behavior within many of his live streams that are private, which you cannot view.
bro, you're not like a high priority, like valuable asset to anybody. Like, we're not just like, oh fuck, I'd do anything to get Spooky on the program here, guys. My audience just needs him on here. I gotta really what's the saying? I gotta like go out of my way to get him on my program. I'd do anything. Like, this dude literally fucking schizo cried for me to talk to him or acknowledge his existence. He was begging for my help, and then I'm like, hey man, like, I don't know what the fuck's going on, but come talk about it. And he goes, ugh, you want to have me on your stream? You're gonna do a lot better than that, buddy. First of all, I need you to defend predators and weird behavior and say that you're sorry for insulting these gross individuals. Like, what are you fucking talking about, dude? Listen, I'll be honest, like, whatever your girl did that got you arrested for domestic terrorism, like, you're like an internet terrorist for the amount of stupidity that I just heard come out of you, like, with this whole situation. Like, this has got to be some kind of form of internet terrorism or something. Like, I don't know. There's got to be something here.
All right, so we are going to do a deep analysis of Urgbla's behavior here. So bear with me. Urghbla, brother, you are literally in the middle of hosting a live stream that is entirely focused on Spooky, in which it's abundantly clear what your goal is. That goal being to lure Spooky into having a conversation with you on this live stream. If that weren't the case, then you wouldn't have directly invited him onto this live stream, hoping to have a conversation with him to begin with. So yes, I do believe it makes sense that Spooky might be thinking, gee, this Urghbla guy might want me to appear on his live stream. Maybe I'll test to see if he's willing to act in good faith by asking him to apologize to only a few of the people that he's wronged in the past, before I decide whether to subject myself to the harassment that usually follows someone becoming Urgbla's next rape target. Is it really difficult for Urghbla to fathom that somebody might not be willing to speak to him? I'm not sure if nobody in this guy's life cares enough about him to say it out loud, but brother, you are acting like a child throwing a temper tantrum. And on top of that, you are showing an immense amount of animosity towards this Spooky guy, and for what reason? All because he asked you to prove that you're a grown man by showing you're capable of understanding when you're wrong? To prove that you have the ability to learn from your mistakes, and most importantly, that you're able to take accountability for those mistakes once you've realized you made them and move on and grow, I don't think that's too much to ask. All of that, by the way, you've gone above and beyond in proving that you're incapable of doing. So, I mean, that says a lot about your character. I mean, seriously, you're labeling this guy's behavior as parasocial throughout this entire live stream, despite making the decision to directly engage with him, which instantly makes you look like a retard for labeling anything that this guy has done or will do going forward as parasocial, because you quite literally are engaging with it. On top of that, even though you chose to deny his request, you've decided to go ahead and host this live stream anyway, knowing full well that he's not willing to appear on it unless those conditions are met. If Urghbla truly believes that this request being made by Spooky is in some way unreasonable, then why would he make a live stream bitching and complaining about it? Why would he misrepresent Spooky's position, and why wouldn't he just ignore the situation entirely instead of going live and schizo rambling about every past enemy that he's harmed? Something tells me the Lolcow comments Urghbla tends to throw around towards other people might just be a projection of his own insecurities. I mean, do you seriously expect every single person that you interact with to treat you like you're some kind of royalty? Brother, you're a fucking YouTuber. It genuinely baffles me how a person like Urghbla can not only obtain an ego this massive, but that there are people out there who exist that are fully willing to support this type of behavior. To think that you're above anyone, ever, for any reason, as a human being, regardless of the perceived authority you believe exists as a result of whatever position you've chosen to put yourself in this case being a YouTuber that primarily harasses, doxes, and slanders other YouTubers, is absolutely fucking nuts to me. All jokes, all trolling aside, as a man and as an individual, you know what, fuck it, as a human being, just like every single one of you watching this video, I hope, I feel as though it would be wildly unacceptable and legitimately insane if I were to come on here and act as though I'm above anybody else simply because they've posed a reasonable request upon me. I get it though. Urghbla wants his audience to believe that he is superior to everybody that he talks shit about on his channel, so that when he makes false claims, whatever he's pushing becomes the equivalent of fact, even if it's not. He doesn't care what it takes to achieve this, because he'll simply label whoever is giving him pushback or criticism as a liar, a rapist, a pedophile, a retard, or whatever insecurity he's currently struggling with at that given moment. He gets a massive ego boost when his echo chamber of a chat unanimously begins agreeing with whatever he's saying and chanting these things back to him in his chat. Since Urgbla's goal is to manipulate his audience, this is when I want to take a few minutes to break down exactly how Urghbla does this in this specific example that you've just listened to. Urghbla starts off implying that Spooky isn't in a position to be making demands, which suggests that Urghbla sees Spooky as being below him in some way.
Do you see how he's acting like he's like in a position to make demands? Like, bro, you're not like a valuable asset to anybody.
Urghbla is undeniably being condescending here. Urghbla then is making fun of Spooky for believing that Urghbla wants him to appear on his live stream, which is funny because Urghbla literally invited Spooky onto this live stream directly, and Urghbla is still continuing to be incredibly condescending.
Like, this dude literally fucking schizo cried for me to talk to him or acknowledge his existence. He was begging for my help, and then I'm like...
Then Urghbla decides to entirely misrepresent the request Spooky has raised towards Urghbla, which would give Urghbla exactly what he wanted from Spooky.
And then I'm like, hey man, like, I don't know what the fuck's going on, but come talk about it. And he goes, ugh, you want to have me on your stream? You're gonna have to do a lot better than that, buddy.
Literally all Spooky wants is to see whether or not Urghbla is able to show the least bit of good faith behavior before he's willing to appear on his live stream. Urghbla misrepresents this request in order to manipulate the audience into developing negative emotions towards Spooky, which will in turn make it much easier for Urghbla to attack Spooky going forward throughout this stream. This behavior can be observed in every single live stream Urghbla has done where he is attacking somebody. What he will do, typically, is he will present his live stream with a clip of someone saying or doing something, with the original context entirely removed for the purpose of painting whatever is being shown in the worst light possible. Then he will do one of two things. Either he will cook up his own false context, then apply it to whatever he's about to show, or he will ramble after whatever he's he shows about a bunch of nonsense, with the goal being to confuse the audience into accepting whatever context he has provided by rambling, and that they will accept it as undeniable fact. Regardless of the method used, this is how Urghbla primarily goes about painting false narratives on his live streams. Which is funny because, as I said before, in this video, Urghbla talks about how doing this sort of thing is a massive issue that needs to be eliminated. It really is astounding to me that Urgbla's audience is seemingly blind to all of this. Although I am a bit older than his target market, so I guess I must have lost my ability to relate to how a 13-year-old thinks, unlike Urghbla, who is seemingly tapped into that sort of thing. In other words, those who consume this moron's content entirely lack the ability to critically think. If this weren't the case, then Urghbla wouldn't have an audience to begin with. In short, since I just yapped an insane amount, Urghbla misrepresents Spooky's request to make him seem unreasonable, so that those who are watching will be more open to the idea of Spooky that Urghbla wants them to develop, which will lead them toward harassing Spooky for whatever up shit Urghbla wants to pin on him, essentially turning him into Urgbla's next victim. Urghbla is doing this because it will make attacking, harassing, and tormenting Spooky from this point onward much easier. Urghbla feels the necessity to do this to Spooky because of his interpretation of Spooky's request being fundamentally flawed. Either that, or he's just entirely misrepresenting what Spooky's saying intentionally, which that fundamentally flawed understanding, if that's what we're going to go off of, has led Urghbla to becoming offended. Or something else has led him to becoming offended, but that's just my best guess. Urghbla being offended was made clear by him acting condescending towards Spooky in the clip that I just showed you, which shows not only that Urghbla might have some sort of mental disability, but that Urghbla believes he is more important than other people by default. I expect this livestream won't be the last that we hear of Urgbla's newly developed hatred towards Spooky. After all he will need to do in the future to justify saying whatever he feels like about Spooky is to call back on these behaviors he has painted onto Spooky that his audience now fully believe Spooky exhibits, which obviously these characteristics do not represent Spooky or his character by any means. I find it hard to believe, like I said, that Urghbla isn't intentionally acting in bad faith here, considering how confusing this short ramble of Urgbla's can be to understand if you're not privy to the sort of behavior that he typically uses in order to manipulate his audience. The sheer amount of bad faith that is being put on display here by Urghbla is truly fascinating. So, bravo, brother. What a performance. The fact that Urghbla manages to convince his viewers that the exact opposite of reality is occurring in so many different situations is genuinely impressive. I mean, seriously, somebody doesn't just need to understand how retards think in order to achieve this kind of thing. They need to be a retard in order to get on his level. It's incredible that he expects not to be ridiculed for this shit. It really is, especially considering the fact that any human being with a pulse and a brain can go back and watch this live stream. At the time of me recording this, it's still up on his channel. You can go back and see all this. Like I said, if you're not privy to the type of shit that this guy does, you might not even catch any of this shit. Anyway, in conclusion, to wrap things up on this specific topic, let me reiterate that what I just explained in grotesque detail boils down to Urghbla wanting you, the viewer, to believe that what has occurred in reality is the exact opposite of what has actually occurred. Urghbla believes that you are less than him, and he believes that you're a retard that will believe anything that he says, because that's been proven over the last 2 years to him. I wish I was kidding here, but unfortunately, I don't exist within a fantasy land that I've created in my head like Urghbla does. Just like all of you, I'm stuck here in reality. Although, if you ask Urghbla, he might do a live stream next week trying to convince you of the opposite, then 3 months from now, he will go on to upload a video claiming that the reality he attempted to convince you wasn't really occurring is actually what's going on, and that it's now a huge issue. You see why this can become a bit confusing, maybe perhaps mentally draining? It's almost like what we're dealing with here is somebody that's so stupid that they don't realize they're lying and stupid, so they continue to lie and be stupid despite them being a stupid lying idiot. Wait, That sounds familiar. Who did I hear that from? Anyway, let's get on with the fucking video.
That, again, there is a public apology made towards Osai and Modulace and even Benelli trolls.
Even
Notice
Benelli.
I'm not including Glass in there because I kind of think Glass
Not Glass.
does not. I don't think Glass deserves an apology.
Isn't that crazy that even this guy who literally is this domestic terrorist even thinks that Glass doesn't deserve any humanity or respect? Like, isn't that crazy?
No, it's not crazy. You're both cucked.
Like, this guy who probably like threatened to kill his girlfriend and just probably gave her like trauma, whatever the fuck. Who knows what this guy did? He probably did some horrible things to his girl. The fact that
Yeah, bro, he probably like beat her up or something, man. Also, are you alright, man? Are you on oxygen or something? You need your oxygen tank replaced? What's with all this breathing, man? Jesus. Something tells me those McDonald's Big Macs are taking a toll on you. Maybe time to cut those out of the diet.
the fact that me and him, we agree on absolutely nothing, but the fact that Glass is just a piece of shit, like, that says something about Glass. Whether you're a domestic terrorist or someone like me, we can all agree that Glass just should be wiped off, and the existence of my Minecraft save.
Yeah, man, that's a point there, dude. We can all agree whether you're a massive terrorist or a scumbag, lying manipulator who gaslights his entire audience into believing that your delusional reality is where we all actually reside. We can all agree that this person's a piece of shit, guys. Not us. No, not you. That guy's the piece of shit.
Bro, this guy has the thinnest skin ever. Holy fuck. This guy could not nearly bake what he dishes, that's for sure. Crazy. Like, any person has the ability to just like ruin this guy's life. Like, this guy, he absolutely has I don't even know how would you even classify this?
Thank you for asking, man. I really do appreciate that. Here's your answer, man. This is called lack of being able to self-reflect and understand that you're literally talking about yourself here.
Like, you can stun lock this guy. Any person could go to this guy's channel and just talk shit and he will fucking crash. Like, this guy is like a lolcow, essentially. Like, this guy is a lolcow waiting to be discovered. Like, especially the fact that he's got like some crazy like criminal record thing going on. Like, 100% this guy's just like lolcow material. And all he's doing is like, putting himself out there in a bad way. Like, I think this is bad for him, the fact that he's putting this attention on himself, but he can't help it, right? Okay, question. Real talk. Don't be biased, right?
Okay, Urghbla, I won't be biased.
What do I preach aside from like, don't try to like hurt kids, or don't be like a sexual degenerate weirdo? Like, what else do I preach? Genuinely, I feel like that's like the only thing I preach. Genuinely, like, I don't know.
Genuinely.
Am I missing something?
Yes.
So you disagree with that, or?
Affirmative.
So when he says he disagrees with me, he disagrees with like,
Copy that, brother. If you're curious if I've cut any of this out of context or anything like that to mash it up to make it sound like this guy is just psychotic, I haven't. This is literally all in a line with just me interrupting in between. And also, he never actually finishes this thought that he was having here. He just blanks and then gives up and starts reading chat.
Qualifies as a degenerate weirdo. Like, if you're like Modulace, if you're part of fetish VRChat groups, and then you try to be a trolling YouTuber,
you better not be in any of those sexual fetish groups on the VRChat if you want to be a YouTuber. I'ma come get you.
and then lie and try to, like, I think anybody that promotes being a deviant weirdo to a audience is I think that's not great.
Who is doing this? I'm just so confused at what the fuck we're even talking about anymore. This guy's just rambling at this point. Who is doing this that this guy is talked about? I don't understand.
Yeah, I mean, those are literally the only issues that, like, that's pretty much it. Like, everything that I have a problem with literally traces back to those things. It's like, if you're just being like a negligent, horny loser, I think it's embarrassing and pathetic.
You better not be trying to fuck anybody, man. And you know what? You better not be doing any horny, negligent behaviors, dude. Like trying to have sex with somebody on Snapchat, Osai, or, well, Modulace didn't even do anything, so I don't really know. Or Benelli, dude. You better not get fucking catfished, you piece of shit, you motherfucker. motherfucker. Yeah.
Isn't it interesting how he says he would like to speak to me, but he makes intentionally unrealistic demands and then tries to act like a diva and like ego me?
I know that it was a little while ago, but do you guys remember me talking about how Urghbla might possibly think that this guy's being unreasonable? Well, here he is letting you know that that's exactly what he thinks, and calling him a diva and saying that he's trying to ego him. Interesting. I think we're starting to understand what is wrong with this guy. Urghbla, to be clear. Guys, he might be a bit of a narcissist, like a legit one, not like the I only care about myself, I'm a fucking man. No, the mentally ill, you need to be put in a fucking asylum type, delusional, schizophrenic, psychotic type of narcissist.
They let you out of the psych ward?
Guys, I kid you not, that was the very next thing that he said after what he said that I just responded to.
Ugh.
People keep asking how old I am. I'm 67.
What?
6'7". I'm an age progressor.
Oh my god, that was so funny!
I don't think he's 67. I think he was just trying to be meme. Most recent video, this is where we're at now.
I'm back. It looks like Urghbla will not accept my conditions, which again is fine, Urghbla. You want to die on that hill? Go right ahead, man. But I made the request earlier. If you make a full and public apology to Osai, Modulace, and Benelli trolls, I'll consider your sincerity, Urghbla. You know, coming from the guy who's always wanting accountability and responsibility from people. I don't think that's an unreasonable request. In fact, it wouldn't look too bad on you to like man up to that and apologize. But I mean, if you want to die on that hill, go ahead. It's your choice. I don't need your platform. I'm not really asking for your help. I'm raising awareness that you guys are kind of full of shit. The case here that the predator hunting community has been causing a lot more harm than good.
I actually fully agree with Spooky here in regards to VRChat related predator hunting groups. I think that they've done horrible for their own images, all of them, including Sileskios, Urghbla, and whoever else with a sub 50 IQ decides to make a video talking about. Yeah, I think all these people are fucking stupid. I think they don't know what the fuck they're doing. That's obvious. I mean, there are good people out there who do actually take part in this kind of content, right? And they do a good job with it. But unfortunately, on VRChat, we have a bunch of fucking idiots, like I said earlier, doing this shit. So, you know, that's a problem that's got to be solved.
What did I wrongfully accuse Osai, Modulace, or Benelli of? I would be interested to hear a detailed explanation of what I wrongfully accused them of, as well as hard proof that I, in fact, did do such thing.
Believe it or not, you are in luck, my friend. Earlier on in this video, I talk about these things in detail, man. In the detail that you're looking for, I even provide the proof and show you what's happening. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the stuff we can't prove because, you know, you privated the shit. But with what I do have, I feel like I proved that everything you say is pretty much bullshit, so.
Also, somebody in the chat, feel free to answer that as well.
Hey, if anybody in the chat wants to pull my pants down and start sucking me off right now, this is the perfect opportunity to do so, just to let you guys know. Just start sucking me off, okay? Start saying what I just said and repeat it so that people think it's the truth, okay?
If anybody here in the chat can tell me a hard accusation that I made that was incorrect about, I don't know why I have to reiterate this, but Glass is a child predator. He doesn't even deserve a name at this point. He's just child predator, you know what I mean? I think if I was a predator like Glass, I'd be scared, truthfully. But because I'm not out here trying to fuck kids online, like, I feel like if you do a good job of exposing shitty people and then you slander somebody with these horrible claims, I think you're really discrediting yourself, especially when you're teaming up with one of the worst predators in the VRChat scene, Glass. Like, doesn't that kind of devalue your work? Like, how are you going to expose predators but then befriend one and support one and attack somebody on behalf of a predator? You know what I mean? I'm kind of in like denial. I'm like,
I know you're sitting there all giddy right now, Urghbla, thinking, yeah, I knew he wasn't going to show me saying that I proved this to be true. Well, guess what, motherfucker? I am.
but the thing is that those reasons about him, you know, I exposed him for those things. And so he makes claims that are purely like revenge.
Wait, is he talking about me? I'm confused. That's what you do, man. What the hell are you talking about?
And not actually based on fact. It's just like gross. So the reason I'm explaining who he is because he's making horrible claims about me because I exposed him for trying to do really, really gross things.
Would you mind being a bit more specific there, boss? It seems like you're intentionally being a bit vague here.
But we all know that at this point, I believe.
Do we?
I don't know why that's something I have to repeat. I mean, you can look.
Probably because there's no such thing that exists exists anywhere, and all of what you're talking about is just a bunch of bullshit nonsense that's meant to confuse people and convince them that there's something valuable here when there's not.
You could look this shit up.
Oh, there he goes, telling you to look it up. Hey, guess what, dude? I actually got the guy, believe it or not, right? Everybody out there who makes videos on the internet isn't a piece of shit. So what I did is I reached out to the person whose title was inflammatory, and I said, hey man, can you do me a favor and change the title of your video on me? Because people just see the title of your video because Urghbla's telling them to go look at it, and because they're brain dead, they immediately assume that the title is factual, which is not. So he changed it for me, actually. Morale, thank you so much for that.
I didn't even make a video on this.
I wonder why you didn't make a video on this. It's almost as if it's all bullshit or something. And you know that making a video on it would make you look fucking retarded, so you don't do it.
There's so many videos detailing the disgusting things this guy's done.
There's so many videos detailing the disgusting stuff that I'm doing, guys. So many of them. So many, in fact, that you can't even find them. You know why? Because they don't exist. And if they did, this guy would have one of them on his channel. It's like you're taking a fucking diarrhea on somebody and telling them that it's chocolate, that it's melted chocolate. That's what he's doing here.
I don't know why I need to be the one to remind you of that.
Probably because nobody else is willing to lie in bad faith to try and ruin somebody's life in the way that you are. That might play a part in it.
Either Osai, Modulace, or Benelli, feel free to let me know. I'd be happy to.
He wanted to see this. Yeah, Benelli and Osai. Whoopsies. Guess I fucked that one up. Whoops. Forget you heard all that, guys.
But I can also give you the short version, which is that you're wrong and misinformed. I did not make any inaccurate accusations about any of them. I stand on all of them, and I'll go ahead and do it again, right?
By all means, go ahead. Makes it easier on me. I don't have to go back and copy paste or find the clip from somewhere else. Go right ahead and reiterate for me.
Here are my accusations about how I feel about the three of them, right? I think Osai was weird for trying to use his mentally ill fangirl for sexual gratification. I think that was cringe, and I think it was gross and weird. I think that Benelli should not be talking to little girls and soliciting videos of them having sex. And I think Modulace, among many things, you know, with her weird fetishes and such, should not be engaging in these kind of weird kinks, and she's just a weird overall person if you've looked into her history. I think all of those things are acceptable. So anyways, yeah, if there's something about anything,
I'm gonna have to cut you off there, Grandpa. Seems like your dementia's kicking in big time right now, man. It's time for you to take it easy, get in that bed, maybe throw on a movie or something, you know what I'm saying? One of the favorites. You're talking crazy, you're recalling things that never occurred, you're doing all kinds of nonsense that makes you look crazy right now, so I'm gonna have to cut you off for now.
you guys think is something that I should apologize for, feel free to let me know. I think that they should apologize for what they did, personally. Yeah. But yeah, you know.
Seriously? Brother, are you okay?
You know what I'm saying? It shouldn't be, let me bend the knee to you, sire, and kiss your ring. That's what Urghbla's wanting me to do. I'm not doing that.
Okay, I might be biased here, but isn't that what he's trying to have me do? Or am I mistaken?
Yeah, no, that's not what he's trying to have you do. That's what you tried to make it seem like he was trying to have you do, but in reality, no, that's not what he was trying to make you do.
Right, he's saying that I'm asking him to like bow to me and worship me, but is that not what he's doing? He's literally saying I have to denounce like very solid moral things that I've spoken out on just to get him on my stream.
I want to commend you here for not lying and saying that these morals you're speaking out on belong to you in any way, shape, or form. Notice how he didn't say my moral values, because they're not his, they're just moral values that exist, in which he picks and chooses to use whenever it's convenient for him to do so. That's very important. It actually shows that he is capable of being honest, perhaps unintentionally. Either way, it's still possible, right? There's hope. There's hope for this guy.
No, literally was about to say, okay, just want to make sure. I just want to make sure, you know, I feel like I'm pretty in touch with things, but I just want to make sure I wasn't being biased. But yeah, it feels like he wants me to like bend over backwards for him and apologize to people who have done gross sexual things with people of different degrees.
I take it back. There is no hope for this guy at all. He literally just cherry-picked his chat for an affirmative. I mean, if this doesn't just show that everything I put on display in this video is like a serious issue with this guy. I mean, guys, this is all one stream, except for when I explicitly made it clear that it was a clip from a different stream. These are all the same stream. Like, this guy's got issues, man. What are we doing? We gotta get this guy off the internet and into a fucking rehabilitation center. Both of these guys.
I was hoping that I would gain something insightful like watching any of these videos, but so far I genuinely have nothing. Has pretty much everyone who called out Urghbla been exposed as some kind of creep or pred? Yes.
It's almost like when you have a problem with somebody, you slander them and try to ruin their life.
Anybody, literally every single person that has ever called me out has either done so as an act of retaliation because of me exposing them for something, or they're just mad that like I called out something they are in favor of. Like, for example, I had an argument years ago with like the Lolcow people on Twitter, and some fucking weird femboy dude who like posts pictures of his cock on Twitter for like his child, you know, followers to see, made like a video that was like horrible, trying to like own me. Like they tried doing like a content cop type of video on me, and it was just like the biggest dog shit flop ever, and they were just wrong about everything they said. But because, you know, it's a bunch of lolly lovers and they all like stick together no matter what, they like hyped the shit out of it on Twitter, but like the video totally flopped on YouTube, and I just like shit all over that person.
Cool story, bro. Anyway, I'm gonna leave a link in the description of this video and the pinned comment to a video that I've uploaded on Rumble. And this censored video, I just want to be highly specific that this video is entirely censored, and this video is going to show you Urghbla showing an image of a piece with full intent to a bunch of people that he described as literal children, so this sounds a bit familiar. Also, one of your super fans that continues to call me a predator missile is one of those femboys who likes to post their cock on Reddit, actually, and engage with that kind of material on Reddit, and tell femboys that he wants to like them off and stuff. So, I mean, you're literally losing followers here talking shit about these kind of people, man. These are your people, man. You gotta relax.
They're involved in like the weird gooner femboy. So they're in a space where it's only men who can't get women, so they become women, you know, like femboy sorts. So they start fucking each other and try to like validate it. It's a whole thing.
I'm gonna go ahead and assume that none of these descriptors that you just assigned to femboys in mass apply to your buddy Milo Murphy or anything like that, right? This totally isn't like a transphobic take either by you. No, nothing like that, right? You're definitely not a transphobe. No, not you. You love everybody. You love the trans people. You love the femboys. You fucking love the women.
But either way, yeah, no, there's not any valid things to criticize me for, because I don't actually put myself in situations where I lose, right? It's something I said a long time ago. It's like I never lose, not because I am like untouchable, but it's because I don't engage in situations where I can lose. I don't put things out there that I can lose, essentially.
Oh, okay.
You understand?
No.
It's pretty easy to do if you don't make your insecurities and your like shortcomings and your bad aspects available, then they don't come back to bite you, right? Like nobody's perfect. Like we all got our flaws, but
So what Urghbla means here when he says, if you don't make your insecurities and your shortcomings and your bad aspects available, what he means by this is that if you just simply private all of the live streams that you do that display you having this really terrible behavior that makes you look like you have some kind of illness or problem, then people can't attack you for them, or criticize you for them rather, because they can't find them. They can't see these things. If you don't make your insecurities available to be seen, then people won't be able to pick them apart. Well, unfortunately for you, Urghbla, I have them all saved, so we can do that actually. We can go back and look at all that stuff. Sorry about that.
It usually comes from a very, very basic concept of thinking before you do something, right? Now, a lot of the things I call people out for is because they're a grown man trying to, gratify themselves with a minor. Now, that's a situation where they're probably not thinking before they do. They're like, oh, I'm horny, I'm just gonna go and act on this instead of thinking of the consequences, right?
No, it's not. It's usually people who want to take advantage of vulnerable people for one reason or another, whether they're attracted to them sexually because they're young and they're a pedophile or something, or they are so lonely that they have nobody else, like some of the people that you catch in your older To Catch a VRChat Predator videos, where you have the most expunged individual that I've ever heard speak in my life featured in the video. Usually people like that, but yeah, no, this is completely incorrect. I don't know where you even got this from.
Now you'll notice you're never going to find a situation of me doing that. You know why? Well, one, I'm in a relationship. I also do not like kids.
Interesting that you felt the need to specify that you don't like kids here when nobody is, I mean, at least at the time, nobody was accusing you of liking kids. That's a little strange. I'm not sure why you feel the need to defend yourself on that one all of a sudden, but by all means, go ahead, pal.
I know this is a controversial and unpopular thing to do as like, somebody in the VRChat space, but yeah, I'm sorry if this is, an unpopular opinion, but I really do not have any business hanging out or talking with kids in any capacity.
That's strange. Remember that Sonic video I mentioned earlier? Also, Brittle Bones, who used to be a moderator of yours, who was freshly 18 years old, and she was a fan of yours before she was a fucking adult, and you were still friends with her. And it's like, dude, what are you even fucking talking about, man? Your girlfriend on her Reddit says that you are friends with a bunch of kids that like to start drama on Discord, by the way. Like, what are we talking about here, man? If you like kids, bro, go get help. If you are genuinely struggling within yourself with some kind of issue like that, before it becomes a problem and you actually take advantage of somebody, go to a fucking psychologist or something, man. Get it taken care of, because this shit is getting to a point where it's like, dude, any day now I feel like it's gonna come out that you're a legitimate raging pedophile, dude, and like, this is fucking strange. Anyway, guys, I think that's a great place to leave it off for this video. There will undoubtedly be a part 2 to this video. This was only me breaking down one live stream that this guy's done, and you can see all of the fucking nonsense that goes on within them. Hopefully, if you're a viewer of this guy, you've learned something today, and you've learned how he, takes advantage of your ignorance, and you can move on to people that don't think of you as subhuman troglodytes that will just believe and consume anything that is fed to them from here on out. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Peace.